Hey everyone, it is Tuesday, September 22nd, 2020, and you are listening to the MC Gamescast. I am one of your hosts, Mitchell Barrett, twitch.tv/Team Llama Squad. I'm also joined by the other co-host, or other host, of the MC Gamescast, twitch.tv/Charzar81, Charlie Zarzuela. What's up, my man?
Dude, welcome to fall. It feels great outside. I'm loving it, but we're inside doing video games.
We're doing video games. Yeah, it's the official first day of fall. It actually feels like it here in the great state of Texas. It's actually
nice.
It's actually not too bad. This is episode 9 of the MC Gamescast, and the title of this episode is "Where We're Going, We Won't Need Disk Drives." So yeah, everybody, welcome. Thank you guys for being here today for the live recording. Thanks to everybody watching on YouTube or listening on all the podcast networks. Charlie, how was your weekend, sir?
My weekend was fun. My weekend was busy. I played outside. I gotta turn this down a little bit.
Hey, audio flub on your end for once.
It was just could not take advantage of like the perfect weather that we had outside. I mean, if I was playing golf, it would have been the perfect weekend. Like it was just terrific.
Yeah, and I went out and did some yard work. It was actually quite nice to do the yard work. My kids went to grandmother's house on Saturday and spent the night, so I had the entire house to myself. And so I took advantage by not playing video games. I took a dad nap, and holy crap, it was amazing.
Naps are so underrated.
Oh, it was great. Well, it was perfect because I got that dad nap in right before Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals, which the Stars won, of course, on Saturday. Yeah, the dad nap, man. Oof.
We need to mandate like required naps for just everyone. Like, remember back in the day, like I think it was kindergarten when you would one of your materials or one of the supplies that you took to school was a pillow. Because you had designated naps, and it was awesome.
Oh, it's the best.
Of course, back then we wanted to stay awake, but now we're just like, let's fucking take a nap.
Yeah, and like I said, we watched hockey. It was incredible. It was so much fun. There's nothing like the Stanley Cup Finals. And then on Sunday, we had that Cowboy game. I never lost hope in the Cowboys, as you know. Never ever lost hope in my boys. They should have lost that game.
Required to stream when we start losing.
They should have lost that game. Everybody fucking knows they should have lost their game. They didn't deserve it. But yes, it was incredible. It was a very good win. And yes, when they start losing, I will always start streaming because I'll tell you what, I felt better streaming. What's up?
Did you tell me about that gambler?
Yes. The guy that gambled on Leonard Fournette?
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
No. So I think you told me this, but another person told me this today. Someone laid down $35,000 on the Falcons, I think like near the end of the game. And basically it was to win $1,000. And lost it.
Oh.
Because they were so assured that it was, I think it was like a minus, I don't even know how many, 35,000 or whatever.
Right. Was it basically before the onside kick?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Could you imagine being the flip side of that though?
Yeah,
saying, you know what's another 100? Throw it on the policy. Yeah, the Cowboys can recover this thing.
The thing I'm talking about, earlier in the day, someone on Twitter said that they bet on Leonard Fournette to score 2 touchdowns. They bet $50 and it was plus 2,000. And I made fun of him, and then it happened. So he won, or it was plus 4,000. So he won like $2,000. And I'm like, well, that's why I don't bet. That's why I don't bet. But yeah, it's a good sports weekend. Lots of fun. But we're not here to talk about sports. We'll save that for the sports podcast that we'll eventually start doing, Charlie. But let's talk about what we've been playing. And Charlie, why don't you go ahead and get started? You got quite a list of stuff here, so I'll get out of your way and let you go first.
Well, my first game that I did play over the past week, I've actually been playing over the past couple of weeks because I kind of needed some mellow out gaming in between, like playing like Doom and stuff like that. And it is a sport, and it's a Hot Shots Golf International Tour.
Mm-hmm.
I've been experimenting a little bit and diving a little bit in the PS Now stuff since I've become a subscriber, and it's kind of cool. I mean, it's this little arcadey game. It's not very current. Um, you thought when I would mention it to you, you thought it was like everybody's golf, and we're still kind of like in the gray area about whether like this is the same series or and such. I know there is a Hot Shots tennis that is relatable to this game, but anyway, it's just a fun like anime driven animated game. It's very much on the lines of the controls are very much on the lines of like the Mario Golf that had come out,
Yeah.
um, where it's not controlled by the analog stick. It's more like a button press, and that gauges your accuracy. Um, I digging into it is it's it's challenging, to be honest. It's cool to see golf courses that like it's an animated game. I'm not there for oh my gosh, this looks like real grass. This is so 4K. This is so tremendous. I'm not there for it to be a simulator. I'm there to just play like a fun round of golf and just have a good time, and that's what it is. And even in that, it's in its casual gameplay. It is challenging that if you miss your mark, balls are just going wild left or right, and you know, trying to dig yourself out of a hole can be fun. But just for a casual golf game, it's nice.
Yeah, and we talked about it a little bit, Charlie, off stream. If you're looking for something like that, you should play the PlayStation 4 sequel, whatever you want to call it, Everybody's Golf. That's the newest version of that series, and it's
Yeah,
very good. It's really like I would say in terms of that style of golf game, there's nothing close to it. Your
sure.
Mario Golf and all those, kind of all those styles, and it's fantastic. So I would say, and it's been out for a while, so you may be able to find it pretty. Who knows? It may even be. I wonder if it's on the now or not. I guess you would have seen it on there, but it's fantastic. You should play that. You should play that golf game. Anyway, continue, sir.
Yeah. So I've been playing a little bit of that. Those of you here familiar with our channel and our doings in the last month or so have know about our little inside joke with the next game that I've been playing. Uh, been I dug up this um, rare title. It's not a rare title, but this rare
Hmm.
produced title, Donkey Kong Country,
I've
for
heard of
the
that.
SNES. Um, it is more than a fine game. It is a great
Oh
game.
boy, here we go.
Um, and again, you viewers and people who have been with us since the beginning know of our inside joke on this. But
Which one? Which inside
Super
joke?
Super Nintendo had been coming on strong, and when this title came out, obviously, like the SNES was at the height of its powers, and it just got even more powerful with the better graphics engine that Rare had introduced. Um, Donkey Kong as a protagonist hadn't been done in God, I don't think in a while. I think since Donkey Kong. Well, I don't think ever.
No, he's never been the lead.
I'm
He's
trying
been
to.
he's been the antagonist in
Yeah,
Donkey Kong, but yeah, he never
he's
had his
always been
own
an
game.
antagonist, and he's always been a supplement, like in the Mario Kart game. But he's never been the protagonist, and it was nice to see him being the hero. And like, granted, yeah, you weren't the original Donkey Kong. That was Cranky Kong. Everybody
Yes.
knows that.
Yeah, you
So you're
shared that.
Donkey Kong Jr. technically, but that game it's even today. Like, so I'm playing it on my Wii U because you know
Of
I don't
course.
have a Switch. I will get one day.
If they ever come in
Damn
stock.
it. Yeah, but it looks really really good. It plays really really well. The controls are very very sharp. Um, the boss battles, give or take, it's boss battles for kids. I mean, when you started playing Super Mario Brothers, all you had to do was jump over and like grab an axe, and that was the end of the boss battle. This one you would tag him a vulture character or a huge ass hornet, which, good God, that just reminds me of a whole bunch of nightmares. Opening the grill up. You would know this.
Oh yeah.
But you know, in its simplicity, it's fun. It's going back to those roots. It's digging back to those old feels of when you get up on Saturday mornings before your parents woke up to get in an hour of gameplay, and your little brother would come into the room and you'd co-op for a while. It's just fun, like, and it looked great.
Yeah. Yeah,
And it still does.
and the thing, the memory it brings back for me is playing it in the Blockbuster gaming championships, because that was part of it.
Yeah.
Do we need to do this? Do I need to do my positioning statement, or do we just say who cares anymore? Do I
You
need to?
can. You know.
Donkey
Yeah,
Kong
you can.
Country. One, you're 100% correct. It is a fantastic looking game. One of, if not the best looking SNES games to come out. It is, like you said, it was good to see Donkey Kong get his own game and they expand that universe. I think it's a good game. Me saying fine was probably the wrong word. It's kind of a crutch word for me. It's a good game. I don't know if it's, for me, if it's a classic. I think it's a really good game. I think there are better platformers, throughout the SNES and further. I think it's really good. And I think Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, that came out on the Wii U and then they re-released it on the Switch, is a
It goes
fantastic
hard.
game. It's a hard game, but it's fantastic. That's that. So I think if I just would have been like, I think it's a really good game, these jokes probably don't ever happen.
Oh yeah.
But it is a good game. It wouldn't be in my top 10 SNES games, but it's a
We
it's
drew
a
the
good
line
game.
in the sand when you said fine.
I know you did, and that's what you guys
You
do
got
to
to poke
me.
the bear.
Well, yeah, you gotta poke the bear, and that's fine. You guys poked me for a decade and a half over Mario Sunshine, a game you guys never played, by the way, yet. But it
Yet.
it is a very good game. I think it's fantastic, and I never really played the second one, and I never played the third one. Um, and
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward because again, I'm looking forward to completing this trilogy as part of my Thursday night Twitch streaming.
You should be able to finish this
Um,
one this week, right? The first one.
I'm halfway through the first game, and so the second game actually is my favorite of the three
This
because it's a
Diddy
lot
Kong,
more
Diddy
challenging. I
Kong's
love
Quest.
playing with Diddy.
Yeah.
He's fat. Yeah, Diddy's Conquest. Diddy is faster.
Hmm.
um Dixie, she's kind of the Donkey Kong comparative in her movements, but in a way she's got this Princess Toadstool floating jumping mechanism that
Hmm.
makes traversing each level a lot more interesting. And
Hmm.
obviously each level is a lot more challenging in a way, so the fact that they've advanced their movements and their controls in that game makes the game a lot more challenging. The
Sure.
third one I played a little bit. It's hard to play as the baby, but that's for a
Sure.
later conversation.
Yeah. No,
But
yeah. That's cool. I am actually glad you're doing it, because it is nice to be able to see that game again, because it's been a while since
oh
I've even
yeah,
seen that game, and like I said, like even though I don't put it on the Olympic pedestal, but
it's not on the Mount Rushmore.
it's not on the Mount Rushmore. It is cool to see that game, because you're right. Again, it's a amazing looking Super Nintendo game. It's really incredible what they got out of that system towards the tail end of the life. So yeah, that's cool. And you played one more thing. Tell me about it.
I did play one more game, and I have no clue why I've become a chicken shit over this game. Maybe it's the fact that I'm streaming this now, but I played the original Resident Evil 2 way back in the day. Was not as scary. This one, I don't know if the realism is, but the Resident Evil 2 remake is far more intense than I think I'm making it out to be.
I
And
don't
maybe
think
that's
you
what's,
are. That just
dude,
watching it. Okay,
it
so
looks so good.
Let me say this as a viewer, and then I'll let you get to actually the playing it. We've been watching your brother Josh Izzle play
Yeah.
some Resident Evil, and he played Resident Evil 7.
Joe Shizzle 2323.
Exactly.
Go to his stream. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Go watch him play scary games. It's really funny. But when he
Oh,
played Resident Evil 7, with it being first person, I was like, there's nothing. There's first of all, there's no way I'll ever play it because I'm a chicken shit. But being first person, I was like, there's no way. And then I told you when we were watching it that it wasn't that bad watching it. And I know it's not the same as playing, but I could sit there and watch it intently. I'm having a
yeah.
tough time with Resident Evil 2 and with what Josh is playing 3. For some reason, the the tension is just incredible
Yeah.
in those, and it's a little much to watch. But how does it feel playing it?
Yeah.
How does it feel?
Well, it feels great. Like the controls feel really crisp.
Mm-hmm.
The the pot shots in the game where you're just trying to shoot the zombies in the head are phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
That like you said, the tension, the atmosphere of the like. I think what really grabs me about this is the first time I've actually really played a game like this on headphones, and I'm getting that complete surround sound feeling, and I'm getting full. Even though I'm playing, so I've played games on like big screens where I can kind of back away
Yeah,
and just say, "Oh, okay, I'm here." When I'm streaming, obviously my
it's
monitor is
right there.
front and center, and having the my headphones on me, it really immerses me into the experience. And even though it's in third, well, I couldn't imagine doing this VR, but even when it's
No.
in third person, like you saw me when I was stuck in that closet, I was just like, oh God, I have no clue what to do. And I'm obviously like I'm playing the middle tier, like your default setting.
Yeah,
My brother, he played it for the experience of the stream viewer. He played it on easier, so it's a
yeah,
lot more action combative. You have
yeah,
a lot more ammo at your disposal. This one you have to be completely meticulous. I've already screwed myself over by um, forgetting about the knife mechanics. Like the knife mechanics in this game, I didn't realize was a deteriorating mechanic. Because in Resident Evil 4, you can just go out and hack and slash everybody, all the zombies, just constantly with your combat knife. Am I
right.
right?
Yeah,
And it would
I
just
believe that's the
never go
case.
away. I've already like lost my combat knife, and I'm like, okay, now what do I do? And I'm trying to find my way through it. The puzzles are great in the game. I've already come across a puzzle where it's wrapped my head around a pole. Um, I'm looking forward to breaking out of the Raccoon City Police Station, because I've seen where this game goes. Initially, I just want to see
Right.
what their take is on it. It's really good, and the fact that I'm also playing it at night, it's really like puts me in the mode of like, okay, like this isn't like playing it, on my couch and just chilling and having some Cheetos. This is a little more of a bite than I initially anticipated. But
Yeah.
I'm a soldier on. I'm not prepared to give up yet.
No,
I'm not
no,
broken.
no,
So
and I will say this: watching you and Josh play the Resident Evil games, one, as you know, because we obviously talk a lot, it's made me kind of want to try those, but it's really been getting me pumped to do Until Dawn in October. Like I am,
oh
I'm really ready for it, and I can't wait to do that. Once we get to
yeah, we're excited.
yeah, the Fright Fest month. Anything else about Resident Evil and anything else you played this week?
That's it for Resident Evil. I'm still plugging my way through my Godzilla game.
Mm-hmm.
Still fun
Yeah.
to play while I'm watching my sporting events, and
Yeah.
you know kicking Kaiju's ass across the screen, and playing little Mario Kart Tour every now and then just to get all the feels back. So
Oh yeah.
that's me.
That's and now let's talk about me.
And
So
that's
I
the rest of the
all
story.
right. I played a new game Sort of. I played that Super Mario 3D All Stars that came out last Friday,
Yeah.
and that is the remaster of Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy. And it is $60. It is full price. It's on the Nintendo Switch, of course. I've played a little bit of 64 and a little bit of Sunshine. I haven't gotten to Galaxy. I'm going to do that sometime this week. Um, Super Mario 64. I played about an hour and a half of that.
How's it feeling?
That camera sucks.
Oh man.
It's dude. So
okay.
So they didn't.
Other than the camera.
So they didn't do any work to those games, which we expected that they weren't. And the thing that I wish they would have done with that game is that I wish they would have given you full control of the camera with the R stick instead of what it was on the 64, which was you would hit the C buttons to turn, but it would only
C button.
Yeah, the C buttons. Unfortunate name. But when you would hit those buttons, the camera would turn like 30 degrees.
Yeah.
If it was in the right position. If you were in the right spot.
Yeah.
And so I fought with the camera a lot when I was playing it. When I wasn't fighting with the camera, the game felt great. It jumping around in that game is fantastic. It really was that turning point in 3D platforming that it was back in 1996. It looks really good. The up-res looks really good. I would say of the three games, the up-res did the least improvement because the Nintendo 64 it was a great system. In terms of power and graphics and especially textures, it was not great. And the up-res only does so much for that. It runs great. It's real solid. It runs good. So it is very faithful to the original. It feels like when you played it in 1996, warts and all. Then I played a little bit of Sunshine. And first of all, and Charlie, you actually made this comment. It looks so good. That up-res looks so good on it. That up-resing it to 1080p really brought out that game because it looked incredible back in the day on the GameCube. But basically doubling the resolution and really cleaning it up makes it look really good. It runs at 60 frames per second. It's a very solid 60 frames per second. They didn't do it again. They didn't do any work to the controls, which in a lot of cases is a problem because the y-axis on the camera stick is inverted and it stays that way by default. You cannot change it. So when you
can it all in the settings,
it's not. You cannot change it. And you couldn't change it back then either. And so
I guess.
And so every time you want to aim up, you're not used to it, so you aim down, and vice versa. And it takes a little bit to do it.
Stick.
Yeah, it's weird. It took me 5 minutes to get back in the flow of that game, jumping around, using the FLUDD to hover. That feels good still. The Super Mario Sunshine and my thoughts on it became kind of a default joke with you guys. But that game is very good. It's not a classic. It's not a masterpiece, as some will say that it is, one Dan Reichert. But it is a good game, and you should play that game. It is a good game. And again, it looks fantastic. I can't wait to see how good Galaxy looked, because on the Wii, Galaxy looked incredible. And I wonder if that up-res to 1080p does the same effect that it did with Sunshine. It just makes that really just bounce off the screen. And I'm really interested to see how they took the Wii controls, which was a lot of motion, and they just put it straight on a controller. Because the Switch Joy-Cons are motion, you can play it with motion. but they
Yeah.
also have a mode where you can play it all just on a regular controller, and I want to see if that how that feels. It's a really cool package.
Cool.
It's really a really good piece of nostalgia, especially for those two older games. And Ryan Can Burn in Hell, and
Did you got a physical copy, right?
I did get a physical copy. I was gonna get a digital copy, but then I decided, because this is the way that they're doing this with the limited amount of time that you can own it. I decided I'm not really much of a collector, but kind of from that collector angle. And plus, if you bought the physical copy at Target, they gave you some magnets for your refrigerator, so I got it from there. They're really
That
good.
was like gonna ask you if there were any of the
Yeah, it was.
any includables in it or
Yeah, Target
whatever.
Target did one where if you bought it there, they gave you like a set of magnets for each game, and they're really dumb, but they're cool looking. So that's why I got a physical copy. Yeah, it's a neat thing. It doesn't blow you
Yeah.
away like Super Mario All Stars the original did, where they rebuilt that stuff from the ground up. And of course those 3/4 games you can argue are better games in general anyway. But yeah, it's a cool package, and I can't wait to play more of it, which I will. And that's really all I
I
played
mean,
this
there's
week.
only so
But
much. I was gonna say there's only so much room you can go before hitting something like that of the Odyssey level. Like with Mario 64, unless you're gonna do a complete remap of all the character models, I can see why there could be a little letdown regarding like how much upres affects it.
yeah,
I think Mario Sunshine was the first one where it had like character models that are about as up to date as we've seen them.
yes,
Same thing with
correct.
Galaxy, so
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
see why Mario does it. How is the playing like
Like
Mario like between one and Sunshine? And you haven't played Galaxy yet, so
I mean,
you can't speak to that.
I've played Galaxy in the past, so I can speak to it from that angle. So 64, aside from kind of having to fight with the camera, it feels really good jumping around.
Yeah,
You can do what you want to do. Like if you want to do a triple jump, you can
yeah,
absolutely do that. If you want to do your backflip, you could do that. It feels really good. It feels slightly better in Sunshine just because, you improve upon things. And then when you get to Galaxy,
yeah,
it controls it just kind of depend with Galaxy back, especially back then. It kind of depend on what your thoughts on the motion controls were. I didn't love the specific motion controls you had to do in them, but just the act of running around and
yeah,
doing the things in it felt really, really good. I mean, if there's one thing about Mario games, is that no matter what the style of the Mario game is, you go from Mario Brothers 1 to 2, it's a different style, and then back to 3, and then all the way through. Nintendo, and this is true of really Nintendo games, you're getting impeccable controls, tight controls that work
yeah.
in the game that you're doing. You may not like the game, you may
That is the Nintendo mantra.
say what you want about the inverted controls in Sunshine. I think it was a bad idea, but everything else about traversing the worlds feels great, and they're also they're second to none in creating worlds for their games. It's a really cool package. I'm definitely gonna play more of it. So yeah, it's
Can I ask one more question?
yeah. Go ahead, man. What's up?
When he came out of the pipe in 64,
Hmm.
did the feels come back?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Because I mean, it 1996. I'm 14 years old, and that's when your early teens are really where you really hit your stride on your video game playing, where you make your own decisions usually on what you play, and you really get your taste in games. So of course it was absolutely it did that. And of course I didn't get that same feeling from Sunshine, and I probably won't
You know,
but again, Sunshine came out and I'm in my 20s.
yeah.
And in Galaxy, I'm approaching 30, so it doesn't feel like I still love those games. It's just that it doesn't have the same feel. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. but yeah, it's really cool. I really like it. And I'll probably stream more of it. I think I'll go back and actually play through
Looking forward
64.
to it.
Yeah, it's great. And yeah, if you find a Switch, absolutely get this. It's cool.
One day.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, that's what we've been playing before. Charlie, before we get to the news, because we have a few new people that have come and hang out. You guys are watching the MC Gamescast. This is Charizard81 and myself. We do this every week on Tuesday. We talk video games. We tend to talk about our video game lives. Usually more history. This week it's very much current and next gen
So.
and intensive, just because of a lot of news with the new consoles. But we like to talk a lot about kind of the old stuff that we've played, what shaped our video game lives, stuff we've played together, stuff we've played separately as kids. So thank you everybody for being here tonight and checking it out. We appreciate it very much.
So
And so with that out of the way, Charlie, we're going to get to our next segment. And this is a pretty big segment, which will actually transition us into our topic of the week. And of course, that hang on, I'm bringing up the audio, and that segment is the news.
Hurry up.
And yep, it's time for the news. The regular news is very light this week, as it kind of has been in the past few weeks, because it's been dominated by the stuff with the new consoles. I'll go ahead and get started. And Charlie, you'll get into that PlayStation 5 showcase here in a moment, which is probably the biggest news. Yesterday, Microsoft and ZeniMax, which owns Bethesda, announced that Microsoft is purchasing Bethesda in ZeniMax. It was a $7.5 billion deal, and the details of this deal are still a little kind of sketchy, because we're still finding out things here and there about exactly what this means going forward. The details the concrete details we definitely do have is that every single Bethesda game that has come out and that will come out will be on Game Pass, and new games will come out day and date to Game Pass. So that means Elder Scrolls 6, Starlink, anytime they do a Doom, Wolfenstein, anything that Bethesda or the companies that are with Bethesda make, day and date will be Game Pass. Now, in terms of exclusivity, that's been there's been some stuff here and there that seem to point to that. It sounds like some stuff will be exclusive, and some stuff it's going to be kind of on a game by game basis. So you may have 1 year where you have Doom and Elder Scrolls come out and Wolfenstein, and maybe Doom is the exclusive, or they're gonna kind of pick and choose based on game by game. I've talked about this before, and I'll say it again. I don't like exclusives. I don't like it. I think it's bad for gaming. I hope in the end, I really hope Doom doesn't become an Xbox exclusive. I think that would be really shitty. I think that third parties should make games for everything so everybody can play them. And I understand what Microsoft is doing, and I think it's great for them. Going into the new generation. But my hope is that a lot of especially their tentpole titles, your Dooms, your Elder Scrolls, will be multi-platform. This
definitely sounds like a huge business deal for Microsoft to put their line in the sand when it comes to really, really big titles. I'm concerned because and we discussed this a little bit, is that, they're grabbing these huge titles, and I'm like, so what is the future for Microsoft? You're talking about your tentpole titles that they've got, in the pipeline. That kind of leaves me to be a little concerned about, like, oh my God, they're resting all their laurels on these existing IPs, and I'm like, so what about the creative side? Like, they've come out and said, hey, Fable's coming around the corner. It's coming around the corner.
Oh,
Halo, we've
yeah.
seen Halo a lot, and
Delayed.
we'll see what this next yeah, rendition of Halo has coming out. Like, it always concerns me, like, I guess from that aspect. But I do think, like you said, it is a boon. It's something to add to their entire Games Pass um, system, that it's innovative. It's the leader in how people are getting their games for a very, very reasonable price
Right.
nowadays,
Exactly.
rather than just buying it. So
Well, and I think I think if you let's take the exclusivity out of it. Let's say Xbox is like, they're still going to come out on everything. I mean, we might as well. We get
yeah,
some of that money anyway. So if it sells 1 million copies on PlayStation 5, we still see some of that money,
yeah,
which is why I think they should do that.
they get some of that
The
piece of that pie.
the fact that all that stuff will come out on Game Pass day one automatically puts all Bethesda games as the number one spot on Xbox. That's where people will play them
Yeah,
more than any
yeah,
other console. And so that alone, to me, makes this deal worth it. And to go to your point on
yeah.
what does it mean for kind of Microsoft in terms of like first party stuff, this is exactly why they did this, because their first party is struggling. Halo
Tell
delayed,
me
was
about it.
supposed to be out on November 10th, delayed. Their big game gone. They don't have a game. They don't have a tentpole game. Gears of War, who knows if they're even going to do another Gears of War? Who knows if they should do another Gears of War?
They
But
have a they Gears of War Tactics just came out with a trailer this week, so
cool.
there's that.
Cool. Sweet.
I mean,
No, I mean that people like that game on PC. That's but they
oh
don't
yeah, yeah.
they still have Rare. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what Rare's doing right now. They've been messing around with Sea of Thieves and trying to make that game better. And from everything I hear, that game is a lot better than it was when it came out. And they've got Fable. You said around a corner. That fucking corner is like 2 miles away. Fable,
Yeah.
and we'll talk about another game that did a little title card thing, but at least that one, it's coming within the next year. This, we don't know when this is coming out or if it will even be good. Fable 3 came
Yeah.
out in 2006. So,
Yeah.
they have a lot of issues with their first party. So, depending on how this contract is structured and if anything's going to be exclusive, having them is huge because their first
Oh
party is
yeah.
lacking.
Yeah.
It came out of nowhere in a world where everything leaks. Nobody knew, which was great, which was cool. It
Yeah.
was cool to get that announcement. Be like, what the fuck? I am interested.
It's all coming out.
I'm interested.
All the news.
Yeah, I'm interested to see the fine print. One other thing.
Half-Life 3 tomorrow. Let's go.
Fucking that. Oh God. No, not tomorrow, because then we'd be like, oh man, we'd have to talk about it next week. One aspect that they did, that Microsoft did come out and address, is specifically Deathloop, which we'll talk about a little bit more later, is a timed PlayStation 5 exclusive, and Microsoft has said that Bethesda will be able to do that contract. That's not being affected at all. So Deathloop will still be a timed exclusive for PS5, and any other contracts they have with any of their other games in terms of exclusivity, they will be able to honor those. So that's cool too. That doesn't change any of that stuff. It's huge news. It is one of the.
Yeah.
It is one of those.
Billions of dollars. Yes.
Yes, one of those groundbreaking, like, whoa, I cannot believe this happened. And once again, Game Pass, fucking Game Pass, the greatest value in gaming.
Yep.
And maybe with a story a little bit later on, maybe PlayStation's doing their own little thing. Charlie, talk to me about what's coming to Twitch here in a couple weeks.
Well, a couple weeks, Thursday Night Football is coming back to Twitch. Yeah, if you got that Amazon Prime Video, you know how you've been able to stream your Prime movies through Twitch. You can also watch football again. I mean, with the NFL kind of struggling, and they're trying to get their ducks in a row in regards to any type of revenue that they can get.
Yeah.
The fact that they're going to start, like have their games streaming also through Twitch is probably going to be helping them as well. We will see. The video game community versus the sports community can be fickle at times,
Yes.
just depending on who you talk to.
Yeah.
You and me, we love our sports. We also love our video games. That's our life.
Yeah.
I know several people who they love sports. They have never touched a video game in their life, and
The other way
vice
around.
versa.
Yeah.
That just happens. But the fact that they are having another avenue that gets more eyes on them, and hey, I want to know if there is a possibility sometime eventually where we can be like, hey, we're gonna stream your game on our channel. That's kind of a cool idea. I don't know if that'll ever manifest itself.
Yeah,
but
I was reading a little bit about this before we went live, and I was kind of looking at the schedule for the rest of the year as well. And there are some good matchups coming up. So it's not like the old typical Thursday night schedules where it was just the worst matchups of the week. They do have some pretty good.
Jacksonville and
Cowboys,
Cleveland,
Cowboys Ravens the week after Thanksgiving. That's a huge matchup. Green Bay and Buffalo.
The Chiefs and the Bills, man.
Yeah, Chiefs and Bills. That's right. There are some really good matchups. I read that they're also going to have streamers that skew sports, probably Madden players and stuff that are going to be doing co-streams, which sounds like a neat idea. I don't know if me personally, that's the way I'm going to want to watch football. But it's a really, really cool idea. Titans Jags is not one of those matchups, Josh, but thank you.
No, but
Titans, yes, but
to speak into what you say, it does open itself up to more avenues of like, say, hey, the gamer who does never, really has an inkling to watch football, and all of a sudden they're just like, I've been playing this a while. Let's take a break and let's go check this out. That's another pair of eyes that goes and sees it. Who knows?
What I didn't see, and it sounds like you may have said this before, but just to clarify, does that mean that Thursday night football games that are on Amazon/Twitch could, let's say, you theoretically stream the game on your channel and comment on it? Is that what that means?
And I'm still looking into that to double check to make sure, because obviously,
express written consent of the NFL, Charlie.
Of the NFL, yeah. Like I said, if it is not, I wouldn't be surprised. But at the same time, it is the door may not be open, but at least the lock has been kind of jiggled.
Right, because that would be on a typical Thursday night, we're probably not doing that. But how cool would it be to do that for the Cowboys Ravens game after Thanksgiving? That would be neat to do, kind of what we're doing here, but have the game playing in the background and just bullshit the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people who do Let's Chatting, and
exactly.
they will watch a movie. And I knew you could do that service through your Amazon Prime movies. And they're cool with it because, you're a Prime Twitch subscriber, so you have the rights to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, if you could do that with the movies, I wonder if you could do that with football. We'll probably need to make sure before we do any of that, because Josh is right. Bye channel if you do that. Yeah. That's neat. That's again, it is cool to
again. I am stressing that is not what we were saying.
No, don't do that.
However,
don't
the possibility is, somewhere.
Yeah, that's cool. Just another another avenue for people to watch football, which is that's great. When they did it to Amazon Prime here the last couple of years, that was a really cool thing. It is nice to see it on different channels aside from your typical Fox, CBS, and NBC too.
I just want to say, when they started saying that they were going to start streaming games on like Amazon Prime and like Twitter and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
I'd be the first to tell you, I'm like, who the hell is going to watch that? Like,
Twitter, yes.
I watch all my football through like the original medium of television.
Right.
And then it was cable, and now it's through streaming services. I have YouTube TV, but it's been always through those, and like just the idea that like it would stream through those services, it blow my mind. I was like, no way.
So
I don't know what they're doing. They're wasting their money.
Amazon a little less
Look
just
where
because
we're at now, man.
yeah, Amazon a little less because a lot of people have the Fire TVs and you could still watch it on your big screen. But Twitter,
Yeah.
now Twitter, yes, I did not understand that at all. I never watched it on Twitter. I was like, that seems that yeah, I don't want to do that.
Well, I will say though, like I'm like right on Twitter when it comes to like especially watching the stars recently, because you know obviously with the pandemic we're not able to gather around in a huge crowd and like with our friends or anything like that. So your Twitter friends and your Twitter followers have become more or less like your watching crowd that you're with.
mhm.
And so to see everybody's reactions, especially on all the hashtags and stuff, you're kind of like in that group. And so
Yeah,
the way
that's
it's
true.
kind of turned its way toward that
Well, and
medium.
the
So
Twitch thing, depending on how
color me
far,
surprised.
right? Well, the Twitch thing, depending on how far you can go with it, especially right now where we're not really all getting together like we used to. This is the way to do that, to watch games together and bullshit while we're watching those games. So yeah, we'll have to look into that because that'd be really cool if we could do that stuff. Let's move on before we get too long here. So there was a video that was released. It was the big video of the week, the biggest video of the week. Nintendo did a Nintendo Direct. And I will say this, if you love Monster Hunter, that was your Nintendo Direct because they announced two Monster Hunter games. And really the only other thing from that was interesting, it was that the latest Ori and the Will of the Wisp was announced and released
Hey, bro,
on
Sniper Elite 4.
okay, yeah, whatever. Shoot that guy in the balls while you're on the train, I guess. That game
You see, it's
is
nuts.
that game's fine. But anyway, but yeah, Ori, and that's significant because that's another Xbox owned company putting their stuff on another system. So that kind of going back to the Bethesda thing, it kind of leads you to believe that they are very open to some of the companies that they own putting that stuff out on other consoles. So that's cool. That was really it. It was
That is really it.
Nintendo is still there, and we'll talk a little bit about them a little bit later when we get to our the topic of the week. But the big video of the week was the PlayStation 5 showcase. And Charlie, why don't you run down the games portion of it? We will get into the biggest news of it, but go ahead and tell me about some of the stuff that was. We both watched it. Charlie, why don't you give us a rundown of what they showed?
Before I run down this, I just want to say to the people at Sony, how dare you release this on a Wednesday?
I know.
When you could have released it on a Tuesday, we could have done this.
Could have done this last week instead of 6 days later.
Just wanted to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so the launch games, if you know me, Miles Morales, Spider-Man, boy, when they dropped that lovely minuet in the show, I was talking like this, and I was so excited. I was so stoked. I was just like, give me the game now. Take my money right now. Oh my gosh.
It looks so good.
So
it's
good.
So good.
Again,
beautiful.
Spider-Man is my favorite superhero. Spider-Man is one of my favorite games of the generation.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that when they came out with this, like I was like, just give it to me. right now. Give it to me right now.
Yeah.
So Miles Morales, Spider-Man, launch title 11, 11, 12?
11, 12.
Is that right?
That's correct.
11, 12.
Correct.
Next,
Also on
Demon
PS4,
Souls.
by the way. It's also on PS4.
Yes, yes. If you
Not that that
if
matters
you
because
like myself
yeah, yeah.
could not
Well,
pre-order, and
well,
that's
we'll
news
talk.
for later.
Yeah, we'll talk about it
It's
later.
also on the PS4. So, Demon Souls.
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap. That thing looks so good. The originator for all the Dark Souls
Yep.
games and
Full remake.
Bloodborne and stuff like that. Full on,
Woo! It looks
full
good.
remake.
I don't
It
even like
looks
those games.
so good.
Don't even like those
It
games,
looks
and it looks
so good.
great. Oh, yeah.
I played the Dark Souls games when it was out on the 360, and I'm like, I understood what it wanted from me, but at the same time, there was this kind of like, okay, the animation is not that tip top great, but it's about the gameplay. In this, the animation has completely surpassed what looks like the gameplay. I don't want to speculate on that. That looks really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Demon Souls, launch title, done.
Looks great.
Fortnite,
No
that's going to
way.
be coming out, obviously. S5. Who would have known? I
Yeah,
don't know.
right. The
So
biggest game in
yeah,
the world.
that's coming out.
It looks good. Like
Um,
the upres and everything. It looks good.
good. So we had those particular launch games, and then they had a showcase of several futures. The first one, which completely surprised me, was Final Fantasy 16.
Mm-hmm.
Your favorite two words, console exclusive. Oh man, it looks so. Games look good now. I think,
Yeah.
like honestly, like you should just no longer like put a verbal warning to say, "Hey, this game looks great,"
It's hard.
because all the games
It's
look
hard
great.
not to though, man. Some of the games they show were great. You know, I am the resident
Yeah.
Final Fantasy guy of the podcast. I'm a big fan.
Mhm.
This looks like a continuation, not a story, but a continuation of what they did in 15 and kind of what they did with the Final Fantasy 7 remake, where it's very action oriented and not turn based. It looks so good. Did they? They didn't show any even a year for the date, right? There was nothing. Was there? I don't remember if there was.
No,
But
no,
yeah, it's
I looked twice and I was like, I don't see it. I was hoping
yeah.
to see something like 2021.
That's a
Didn't
22
see
game.
anything.
It's a
So
22 game. It has to be.
yeah,
It looks fantastic.
yeah.
Yeah, console exclusive. Damn it.
Are they
Whatever.
still working on the Final Fantasy VII stuff?
Yes, that they're working on that
Okay,
concurrently. There are two teams working on that, so that's still
okay.
coming. I
Because
don't
that's why I'm
know.
like,
I don't know when that next one's coming
oh,
out.
yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
that was
when we're
cool.
like 45.
But the
So the
next
next
thing,
game,
this is I think after thinking about it, this was my favorite.
this was your favorite.
This
This was
next one.
one of my favorites. If
Hmm.
Miles Morales wasn't up there, this would definitely been my favorite. The Hogwarts Legacies game has nothing to do apparently with anything that J.K. Rowling has written except the world basically. And I'm very intrigued and excited to see what this is coming
Yeah.
out in 2021.
Hmm.
It looks good.
Yeah.
Again, it looks ridiculous. The
I'm.
PS5, I mean, there was a little verbiage in it saying that the rest of these games in this entire show are shown off a PS5 engine, and it's basically showcasing how awesome that engine is going
Looks
to be.
looks fantastic. Looks great.
Yeah. So there was Hogwarts Legacies. We had Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War.
Hmm.
We've seen those vignettes. I want to see Ronald Reagan and all of the Robert Redfords in that game.
So out of the games that they showed, that was the one that I was most impressed with in terms of the fidelity and the graphics.
Yeah.
Man, so much going on screen, so much action. Looks really good. Except for
The
maybe the
RC car.
yeah, except for maybe the next one, which I know you and Josh are very excited about.
RE8,
Hmm.
Resident Evil 8. It's a follow up to the Resident Evil 7 with
Village, right?
the Bakers. Yeah,
Yeah.
Village. looks like they're introducing werewolves in this bad boy.
Great.
It looks so very Bloodborne-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Like the werewolves in it look very Bloodborne.
Yes.
I'm intrigued to see where the story goes. Like Resident Evil is back. I cannot believe
Oh
I
yeah.
ever thought I'd ever say that
Not
after
only
Resident Evil 6 pooped out.
not only
But
is it back,
yeah,
but they completely revamped that thing. Like it's incredible,
yep,
like new
yep,
style of play with the first person, and nailed it. It's
yeah.
because that series was
Like
dead. That series after 6 and 5 and
yeah,
6, that series was
yeah.
dead.
That thing had flatlined. People were arguing like, why are you turning this into some like action third person shooter? It is not. It's
Yeah.
supposed to be a horror game. When Resident Evil 7 came out, boy, it dug right back into its roots, and it is producing wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful fruits of
This looks good.
gore and horror again,
Looks
and it
great.
looks really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the So we've mentioned this several times in our Gamescast. Deathloop,
Mm-hmm.
they showed that. I know that you had with this particular trailer some reservations
Mm-hmm.
regarding your excitement about this.
I did.
I'm still like again, I'm always perturbed when a production company releases what their game is purported to be, and then all of a sudden a few months later you look at something different and it looks different.
Mm-hmm.
I've never minded delays though, because that tells me okay, they're still working on it. Don't re- Remember when they used to release stuff and it's like, okay, this game is completely broken, let's release another 2 GB patch that will fix
Bethesda.
everything even though it didn't fix stuff. Yeah. So this one apparently now, which was originally going to be a launch title
Yeah.
for this console, now is scheduled for Q2 21.
Yeah.
We'll see. Like it's bananas. I don't know how that's going to. I know. I remember we discussed how that's going to placate into like the Microsoft dealing with Bethesda, that they're going
Mm-hmm.
to allow this to continue to be distributed like as is.
Yeah. Timed exclusive.
Um, there was a notion that I did want to point out. Like if this is, it looks really really cool in the fact that if it's kind of like the Hitman system, where you're given a target, and if you're given free choice on how you're going to eliminate that target in the game, it could be pretty cool. It could be
Sure.
pretty interesting. But again, let's all be cautiously optimistic when they release trailer A, which you're all gaga over, and then trailer B, which you're like, well, wait, I thought you were doing this, but now you're
Right,
doing that.
and don't get me
Whatever.
and don't get me wrong. I am still excited for this game because I think the style alone is worth continuing to see where this game goes. It's a really cool style.
Yeah.
It's basically kind of like they took uh, Hitman and put it in like the 70s, kind of that look,
Yeah.
and that's neat. Yeah, and we talked about it. I thought the gameplay they showed, especially the first half of the gameplay, looked boring as shit. Now, when it got to the second part where it kind
Sure.
of got into the Hitman style stuff, it did look more interesting. It that trailer did not. It's kind of like what we talked about with the Avengers, but except the Avengers, it was every trailer where you're like, it just didn't look fun for the most
Yeah.
part.
It didn't ignite anything.
I'm still optimistic about the game. I am also not that concerned about the delay stuff as long as it doesn't get delayed again. Now, if it gets multiple delays,
Yeah.
then you start talking, okay, what's going on? But as long as it doesn't get delayed again, yeah, I'm still very interested in that game. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, with the ability to infiltrate another player's game and affect their game, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, no,
So
that is
I
neat.
hope they keep that, and I hope that it like the abilities that you're allowed to do within what they showed in regards to the trailer. God, that was very Jerry Jones esque. Um, it allows for freedom of force
Yeah,
that is never seen before in games. So
sure.
we'll see.
No, yeah, it looks neat.
Um, Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition. I could not believe that they chose this platform to showcase that
I
they were coming out with this.
right.
I never played a second of Devil May Cry. I will say that right now. It's probably one of
Oh, you never played those PS2
the
games?
no.
Wow.
I mean I gravitated straight to God of War.
Sure.
I know that uh Devil May Cry in its style was very similar with that hack and slash combo system. Um, it looks good. Again, it looks really really good. I
Yeah.
know the Devil May Cry fans are going to have a field day with this
Oh, sure.
because it's Devil May Cry all over again. I know that Devil May Cry had come out with a new. It's Dante again. It's original Dante. That Dante they had like a couple of years ago. It looked like what's his name from Twilight, and I'm like, that's not. I've never even played that game, but I don't even like that guy. So, oh god, what?
Falling downstairs is better. Smithy. Oh my god. That's really good, Smithy. Oh my gosh.
uh,
Uh,
well, we have a fan.
yeah. All right.
We have a fan.
I'm gonna attempt to bring this back. The first Devil May Cry was the definition of cool, just cool game. It was really good. I haven't really played much of the other ones. I kind of after the first one and a little bit of the second one, I kind of fell off of that series. It that remaster looks good. It looks really good at 60 frames. I assume it's probably going to run at 120 because of the console. Consoles being able to do that now. It looks awesome. Um,
Yeah.
Explain to me why the next one is on this list.
Well, you should know, brother. The game I've tried to convince you to play forever has finally teased out its sequel. Probably one of the best games of 2016, God of War.
Mm-hmm.
The fact again that they rejuvenated this. I don't even want to say rejuvenated because this series was great already. Yeah, you could argue regards to that fourth game, but when it came out with its third person behind the back melee combat angle, you and me, we were both questioning like, what are they doing? Like, how is that gonna work?
Mm-hmm.
And boy, it worked like a glove, and just it was so good. And obviously, once you play through it, you're already like looking forward to the next one. And of course, in PlayStation style and the Sony style, they love to do the oh yeah, and we've got one more thing. And just to see the God of War logo etched out in ice
Sure.
on the screen, and you start to see all the little glyphs just
Mm-hmm.
appear, and you know that Ragnarok is coming soon, and it's in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, yeah, again, with like, same thing with Miles Morales. Take my money now.
Are you surprised that with
It's
that
been 5 years.
Are you surprised with them not that with it coming out next year that they had nothing to show? Was that surprising? That was surprising to me. I
I'm
don't care either
I'm
way, but
trying
I'm
to decide.
surprised.
I'm trying to decide how much of a marketing how much marketing is going into that versus how much they have to actually show versus
It's a little of both, I bet.
again how they want how they want to put the cheese out there for the PlayStation 5 potential buyers. You don't want to just go out there and like, hey, here's everything we got, because then in months leading up to it, you're just like, okay, just give us the game already. Like, stop teasing us with this thing. I think, like, God, I want to say Spider-Man was kind of like that in a way that, boy, Cuphead was like that.
Yeah,
Because remember, Cuphead had shown,
they showed the shit
and
out of that game.
don't get me wrong, the final product was pristine and crisp. However, they showed it super early, like in just a minuet of what the Xbox indie games were coming in down the pipeline, and we were like, "What is that?" Like, "Oh my god!" Like, give it to us now. And they would show it, and then I guess the excitement would ebb a little bit. You're just like, "Okay, could you give it to us already?"
Yeah.
And maybe that's what they're doing here with God of War, is that they just like they don't want to like just throw it out on the table, like, go right ahead, here it is. They want to just like, here, give you a taste.
Sure.
Here's an amuse bouche.
Yeah. There, obviously there's not a lot to say about because there wasn't anything there. But Charlie, what I was talking about was the other game before that you skipped over. Why is that on the list?
Oh,
I know why God of War's on
I'm
the list.
sorry. God, I got so excited. So I put Five Nights at Freddy's on this list strictly for the fact that, one, it looks ridiculously good. Two, Five Nights at Freddy's, the reason why this thing had become like such a phenomenon is because of stuff like YouTube and streaming services where you just wanted people like get the shit scared out of them.
Right.
Just reactionary videos that just make you laugh. And I left this on there because I was like, oh my gosh, like this is something that like I've been looking forward to doing. Like, obviously, like, the chicken shit side of me is like, I don't know about that. My son's literally a room over, and I don't know if I can,
Yeah.
stream at night without screaming my head off and
Yeah.
waking him up.
Shitting your pants can
But,
be loud.
yeah. I mean, the fact that like it was on like the PS5 title, like Five Nights at Freddy's was originally like mostly for PC,
Phone.
and the fact that they showed as a PS5 highlighted game, I was like, okay, that they're moving forward with that series still, and there is a lore to that thing that's kind of like crazy if you followed it and stuff, but you know,
I
it's
I
it's it's for the streamers.
Sure. I always thought that game was bad. I messed around with the first couple on phone. I didn't think they were any good, but it does have a huge following online. You're right. You can go on YouTube and find a million videos about Five Nights at Freddy's, especially the lore stuff. Um, so that was all the games. Of course, the most important one being Five Nights at Freddy's. They announced one other thing that was not related to price and dates and everything. This actually was the thing that got me the most interested. Charlie, what was that part?
Boy, you want to talk about something that like came and went and was like, oh yeah, by the way, we got this, and then let's
That
move
was
on to
weird.
the prices. Yeah, it was the PlayStation Collection. Basically, it's a new PS Plus benefit. You know, you can just like at launch, you're gonna have the ability to download and play select games from the PlayStation library. There's gonna be a total of 17 games
So
in
good.
there. So, oh my
Bangers.
gosh, God of War, Last of Us, Uncharted 4, Battlefield 1, Monster Hunter, Fallout 4, Last Guardian, Ratchet and Clank, Infamous, Days Gone, Bloodborne, Detroit Become Human. God, why did I buy those games in the past when I knew these could have been really readily
Mhm.
available already? Batman Arkham Knight, Mortal Kombat 10, Persona 5, Until Dawn, and Resident Evil 7.
What
I'm
what
like,
a what a
dude,
great lineup.
seriously.
What an awesome
It's like,
lineup.
here's a console. If you had told me back when I bought my Super Nintendo back in the day, and there was some type of like system like we have today, and say, you know what? Here's Mario All Stars, Mario Kart, the entire Donkey Kong series, all the Street Fighters, Mortal
Yeah.
Kombat's. Let's put in Chrono Trigger,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like, I would have been just like bananas.
Yeah.
Like, are you serious? Like, this is all at my disposal right now.
Right.
I'm gonna
And
fail school. I don't care.
yeah, it's in not only not only is it the quantity, like there's a couple on here that, Monster Hunter, we're not Monster Hunter people, but like these are fucking bangers of games. Like games of
Yeah,
generations good. God of War, in The Last of Us and Uncharted, like just like the we have talked every episode about this type of service, Game Pass, PlayStation Now, and how up and PlayStation Now is really far behind what Game Pass is doing, but this shit, adding that, and if they continue this in doing stuff like this, then all of a sudden you've got Game Pass versus this, whatever they end up calling the whole entire service. How awesome is this for gaming? Just incredible.
Yep.
And going
never better time.
Right. And we'll definitely talk about this more here in just a minute when we get to the actual topic, but console releases tend to have maybe one, maybe two good titles that come out at launch, and then you gotta wait. Well, now you've got this Game Pass on the Xbox side, this collection on the PlayStation side. You've got so much, because there's no way that any of us have played all 17 of these games. I don't care if you're the biggest Sony fan. There's games on this list you haven't played. You got it now. So that just
I played a good amount, but
sure,
yeah, you're right.
There's stuff on there and there's definitely stuff on there that you would want to go through again. And it'll be interesting to see what those games look like, up-resed. Obviously they're not going to be doing any extra work to them, but it'll be neat to see kind of what PlayStation 4 games are going to look like on the new system. With the backwards compatibility. That just, to me, that was the best thing that they talked about. And the thing that got me super hyped. Look, we knew what the prices were going to be. We basically knew what the prices were going to be. We knew about when it was going to come out, and we've seen a lot of these the new games previously. So getting a surprise like this is what got me hyped the most out of this whole thing. We'll get to the actual console stuff here in a minute. We only got 2 releases this week. Serious Sam 4. They're making another one of those. Remember Serious Sam? They're making another one of those, 4th one. It's a PC Stadia only. I would imagine those will, if they sell decently.
The Stadia.
It still makes me laugh every time I get to type that in.
Still a thing, huh?
Right? I would imagine that if Serious Sam does well on the PC, I'm sure it'll come to everything eventually. And then that Mafia remake is coming out this week, and this is a full ground-up remake of that original Mafia from the PS2. I did not like that game. I did not like that game back in the day. This does look like they've made really good improvements to it and might be pretty good. It looks really good. So that's.
I need a Mafia game to play.
Sure. PS4, Xbox, and PC, and so that's new releases. That's the big news. That's the regular news of the week. And it's time for the topic of the show, and we can't talk about anything else. We got to talk about these new consoles. We got to talk about what this new generation is going to bring. And so
Game Boy.
That's right. Everybody, go buy your Game Boy Colors. Virtual Boy is out next year. So we knew everything going into this week. We already knew everything about the Xbox. We did find out the pricing and the dates for the PS5, $399 for digital and $499 for the disc-based version. And it is coming out 2 days after the Xbox, which I was shocked to see. I thought they would not want to go same week, but I'm really glad they are, because that week is going to be bonkers.
They put their thing down.
Hey man, look, not many people are buying both, and so they're competitors, but it's not right as of this moment. They're kind of not really direct, because the people that buy stuff at launch are usually the people that are like, I'm buying this one, and then that's it. That's just, that's the one that they want. So that's really cool. Then the pre-orders happened.
Fucking A,
dude. So the day of...
I don't know anymore.
So they did that thing on Wednesday, the Sony thing, and said that the pre-orders were going to start the next day. Well, what happened was, I guess the next day meant midnight that night. Nobody was ready for it. The retailers were obviously not ready, and it became a clusterfuck very, very quickly. Every website that was selling it crashed. There were people that were getting pre-orders completed, and then days later were getting canceled. It was so bad, Charlie, that they came out and publicly apologized, which is just something that doesn't happen. And
it's bad when they take extra steps to not just like say, hey, it could have been this, it could have been this. No, they damn near just said, hey, we are sorry.
Yeah, we screwed up and we're going to try to make it right.
Yeah.
They say they're going to try to do a second wave, whatever that means. Who knows? And again,
I hope so.
Yeah, and so you tried, Charlie.
I tried.
Tell me about your experience.
I mean, it's not unlike a lot of other people's experience where they go to their favorite online retailer and just hope and pray that they have it, and then next thing you know, you're just like, selecting the, hey, email me when you see something, because it's just bone dry out there.
Yeah.
And it's to the point actually where it's confusing, because then you go to another website, and I'm not going to say who, but instead of them saying, oh, it's out of stock, they're saying, no, it's coming soon. And you're like, wait a minute. So
what does that mean?
Going to be having more? What does that mean? Like,
yeah,
and so there was a lot of misinformation going back and forth. You're just like, we're all talking to each other on like the Twitch chats and stuff. And it's like, one guy's telling me, oh yeah, they're completely out. And it's like, oh no, they're still setting it up. And you're just like, what is going on? And,
yeah.
It got to it's so frustrating because, like, especially for my sake, is that, you're willing to spend the money.
Right.
And so you're kind of like, okay, well, I don't want to say it's, in during these times, obviously money is not just like something you just throw into the wind, we're not all doing that or whatever. But the fact that these companies have come out with cost saving avenues to purchasing these new consoles, they could have easily have made it $700-$800 for these things.
And I think,
who knows, like, how much the pandemic did affect that, price point when it was dropped. I'm not gonna, presume as much. But we were on that side of the fence. We're like, there's no way this thing is gonna be this much. Like, especially with the Sony show, and like, they haven't showed us the price yet. They're gonna do it at the very end.
Yeah,
it's gonna be one of those fuck yous at the very end of this thing, isn't it?
And then it wasn't. And the thing
then it wasn't, and they got you excited, and then that debacle happened, and then it's just this constant, ebb and flow of emotions where you're just like, oh, just let me get the damn thing.
Yeah. Well, and I think I think, and we'll continue on with the pre-order stuff in a second, but you mentioned kind of the price points and the accessibility. It's incredible that we are getting the greatest consoles that have ever been produced, and you can get in on that for $299 or $399. That's insane.
Yeah.
Insane that the entry level, which those entry level consoles are not entry level. They are powerful as hell consoles.
Yeah.
And
yeah, this isn't the Xbox Arcade and Xbox Standard and Xbox Pro. This is you're getting beefy machines.
Now there is obviously a big difference between the Series S and the Series X. There is, but it's not as wide as you think it is. And we knew that Microsoft was going to have to come out and throw punches, throw haymakers with their stuff, and which is why they're doing this $299 version. But Sony didn't really have to do this. They had the PlayStation 4 is the third greatest selling console in the history of gaming. They didn't have to come out and be like, well, hey, we're gonna be a little bit budget minded, and then they did that to where there are a lot of people, and I talked to you about this, where I was like, what if I got the Series S and the digital PlayStation? Like you can get into both next generations for $700, and there was fear that one of these consoles was going to be $700 on its own, and it didn't happen. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So Sony didn't help itself by doing the 8-hour turnaround, but a lot of it is on the retailers for not being ready. Well, Microsoft gave them 10 days to be ready to do that. And it was the same goddamn shit. Or was it for some of us? So this morning I was at work and I had made the decision that I was going to purchase an Xbox Series S, the $299, and I was just going to buy it outright. They do have that all access where you can do payments. I decided based on kind of credit reasons that I didn't really want to do that. I just wanted to go ahead and buy it. So at 10 o'clock, I logged into Target.com, and within 5 minutes, I had my pre-order. And apparently, in that 5 minutes, everything else caught on fire because it was the same shit as what happened with PlayStation. People were having issues all over the place with phantom carts and deleting carts, pre-orders that they thought were finished and they got canceled. Our friend Ryan, who was going to do the all access, couldn't get in anywhere to do it. I have not heard one person, either people we know or on Twitter, that says they were able to do the all access. I haven't seen anybody that got that done. So I don't know if I don't get it. It doesn't seem like that stuff worked at all. The Microsoft Store had issues. The Microsoft Store. It was such a clusterfuck on both, and there's a lot of people that didn't get consoles. I mean, there was going to be people that weren't going to get it just because of numbers, but there's a lot of people that should have gotten it because they were in and ready to go, and because they didn't. I told you earlier, Smithy, you know him too. My brother-in-law.
So messed up.
My brother-in-law, Smithy, or Mick Streamy, he went to GameStop last night and camped out at GameStop. He went to GameStop. He didn't get one. And I still haven't heard the story from him.
Oh.
He waited overnight and didn't get one. I cannot wait to hear this story because that sounds like some bullshit. But I got one. I got one. So that was that debacle. Now, Charlie, let's get into the nuts and bolts. Let's talk about these consoles. Let's talk about their pros and cons. Kind of talk about what we think's gonna kind of play out over.
We're just gonna gloss over the fact that you got yours. Let's move along.
I mean, what do you want me to say? I know I got lucky. I know I did.
But again, we did discuss though. It's like you got yours, but you would not be surprised if Target all of a sudden
canceled.
You got an email saying,
"Sure,
yeah, we only got so much. Sorry, buddy."
Right.
So, and I'm praying that you get it because that again, that's a boon for us.
Yeah, but, yeah. I think I'm gonna be fine, but who knows? People got emails from Target. People got emails from Target a week later after the PS5 pre-order that said that their order was canceled because they allowed too many pre-orders. So whatever. So let's talk about the consoles in general. For people that have been listening or watching through the podcast, first of all, thank you for sticking with us through all these episodes. You guys know that we're not fanboys of specific consoles, but we have where we lean. Charlie is a Sony guy. He's got a PS5. That's just where he's at. And I'm on Xbox more just because of friends and everything. So I thought what we would kind of do, Charlie, is we would kind of each talk about our specific company, if you will, and what we kind of think is gonna where it's going and kind of what we feel is gonna happen. Pros, cons, and things like that, Charlie. And I'll let you start first and just kind of talking in general about what your thoughts are of kind of where we're going with the PS5.
I mean, without these pre-order debacles, I think the PS5 is doing pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
They have all these new IPs that are coming out in the woodwork. They have a lot of old retro games that they have definitely up-resed. Um, you've got your Crash Bandicoots coming out. You got your Ratchet and Clanks, obviously. Then you have Spider-Man, Demon Souls. It's it's a good time to be a Sony owner and player, and obviously the one drawback with this company has always been the network.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to say, just I guess from my standpoint, I have really good internet, and I have I've experienced a lot of, I don't want to say jank, but kind of rewind back to what you had said earlier about me being the Sony guy. You could have said that 12 years ago because I was all Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
I was all in the Gears of War and everything like that, especially because of the fact that the 360 had probably one of the best networks out there.
Yeah.
You were able to download things lickety split and you were able to start playing. Once I kind of transitioned away into PC gaming, and then once I came back to the PS3 and 4, um, I noticed a tremendous, significant difference between uh, the former and the latter.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, I'm hoping that they improve that. The fact that they're going to beef up their PS Plus with the PlayStation Collection, you got to think that they are going to do that because
Mm-hmm.
gamers just they have no patience, they have no time. One of the cool things about the PS5, again, I will believe it when I see it, but apparently they are touting some major strides in regards to loading times being damn near non-existent.
Yes.
Haven't experienced that since the NES or the SNES.
Yes.
It seems
Correct.
like it's a great time to dive into a PlayStation, and you get the bonuses of, hey, my friends play Warzone, my friends play Fortnite, my friends play Rocket League. Let's cross console, let's cross play.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to worry about buying an Xbox anymore. Those, you know, unfortunately, and I pray that, and it's so hard to say the advantages of one without bringing up the disadvantages of the other, but the exclusives that come with the Sony PlayStation, there there's no one better right
No,
now.
you're 100% correct. In Smithy is saying, he brings up Halo and Gears. I disagree with
Yeah,
Smithy when
and
he says uh, that they have better exclusives than PlayStation. I think that is, I love Smithy. He's my UK brother. I love him,
well,
but I don't agree. I
I'll say this to
PlayStation.
Smith. I'll say this to Smithy. You're and Mitch. You remember when I used to be a gearhead.
Oh, sure.
My freaking 360 is a Gears of War 3 edition. And
That's right.
I love that game to the point where when I was watching your stream, Smithy, I was like, I'm already itching to get my chainsaw machine gun ready to go again and to dive in full dive from 1 all the way to 5, because I never played 4 and 5. I
Oh
stopped after
shit.
3 because to me the Marcus story was done. And so other than that game, and I was never a Halo player. I jumped into the 360 a little later than a lot of other people. I was more of a Gears guy, but and there's a huge following of Halo. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
it's like you've been doing Halo for quite a while. You've been doing, let's see something a little more innovative regarding that world.
Sure.
Um, Gears is Gears. Gears is wonderful. Gears is great. But when it comes to exclusives, I would have to side with Sony. Like
Yeah.
there's not not only are they better in quality, they're better in
They
quantity.
are. They are. And let me apologize to Smithy. I read what he said wrong. I read his first one about about Halo and Gears, and I read the second one is that he was saying that Xbox has better exclusives. I apologize,
Yeah.
Smithy, for that. But the um, as someone that has been ride or die, not really ride or die. I own a PS4. I have a PS4. I love it. As someone that is more of an Xbox person, it's 100% correct. Their first party put out has been it's been straight bad. Now they've had their moments. Cuphead, fantastic. And even that ended up going multi-platform. And they have good stuff here and there, but it seems like every Sony exclusive that comes out, Horizon Zero Dawn, then you've got Uncharted 4. Then blah, 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 God of War,
You want me to
Spider-Man,
help you?
Spider-Man,
God of
Last of
War,
Us,
Spider-Man,
yeah, Last of
Until
Us
Dawn,
2.
Bloodborne.
Exactly. Like there's no doubt that in terms of the games, because every third party is putting them out on everything. Call of
Yeah.
Duty is going to be on both. Assassin's Creed's going to be on both. Everything Ubisoft does is going to be on both. Who cares? It doesn't matter. They're all going to be great on those. But what it is about, in terms of the game side of it, is what your first party people are doing, and nobody is doing it better than Sony, even Nintendo. And we are including Nintendo into this. Like, Nintendo has the quality, but their quantity is really lacking right now. And
Yeah.
the Mario,
Zelda's great. Mario's great.
they are.
But
But you know what? Breath of the Wild 2 is still two years away. They haven't even started talking
Animal
about a new
Crossing's
one.
great.
It's good. It's but I mean, the tent poles for Nintendo are fewer and fewer in between, further apart now. And so, with Nintendo, you don't have the third party support. So
Yeah.
yeah, you're absolutely correct. And up until last Wednesday, and we've talked about this a ton. The whole Game Pass thing was really such an incredible plus for the Xbox side, but with this collection thing and what it appears to be happening with the Now service in general, all of a sudden those two look like they're going to be very competitive on that side of it, which is great. Again, great for everybody. And
Yeah.
because if you take the hardware, let's just take the PS5 versus the Series X. They're both fucking powerful. They're both going to look beautiful. They both are basically the same system. So it's all about the games. Well, Sony 100% is well above them. Now, like you said, with the infrastructure, with the networking, it's still all Microsoft. Microsoft, with the Xbox One, continued what they did with the 360. Their infrastructure is still great. Their party system is still great. Microsoft is 100% all in on crossplay, and Sony is not yet. They're starting to get there, but they're not. And that is really, really big. And the thing that Sony, I think, has in their back pocket is, what if their network is good? What if the new one for the PS5? What if it is good? Well, then all of a sudden, everything is a positive for them. They've got the games.
Yeah.
They've got the infrastructure. They've got the Game Pass style gaming library. Backwards compatibility with the PS4 stuff. I care less about, I can play this Xbox original game. Whatever. But yeah, it's what Sony has shown and what they've got coming. It's second to none. And nobody, I don't care if you're the biggest Xbox homer, there's nobody could sit there and be like, Xbox has really good first party games. No, they don't. They don't. So yeah,
I mean, we will see when items like Fable come through the pipeline. Again, we're talking, third quarter, damn near fourth quarter, 2020.
Mm-hmm.
These things are so malleable. They're constant flux. We will see what occurs regarding Halo. Like, it was a good idea when it came out. Unfortunately, the delay kind of like set things back a little bit. Um, like you said,
Well,
regarding the Xbox, their networking thing is really really phenomenal, and the fact they can ride on that and present something as um, affordable as the Game Pass program.
mm-hmm.
I mean, I never would have thought in my day that I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to get a PC and to play Flight Simulator. No,
Not
not
eventually.
anymore.
Not
And
eventually.
like with this purchase of like, Bethesda and stuff, yeah, when the purchase closes next year, you know, the thing that I believe that Xbox has going for them obviously is, you got the cheaper console,
Mm-hmm.
but you also have the fact that they have a completely clean slate outside of like, an exclusive here and there that they can blow us away with something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this company is very very good when it comes to their creative side. Shoot, if you haven't played Ori in the Blind Forest or Ori in the Will of the Wisps, play it. It's a phenomenal game.
Now this is where this is actually where I was going to go with this, Charlie. I'm glad you said this. They need to get back to that indie roots of
Hmm.
Summer of Arcade, Shadow Complex, Limbo, those type of games.
You want Shadow Complex 2 so
Well, of
bad,
course.
don't you?
Well, you know what? Everybody wants it. But they need to kind of
Yeah,
get they,
you're
they,
right.
they need
Like,
to get back to that creative side because look, again, Halo is going to sell millions. It will. Because as much as we're
yeah,
done with Halo, Halo is still the Xbox King. Gears of War is still the Xbox King. Those games are going to sell like crazy because for what people want from them, they're very good games. I'm just not that person anymore with those. So what they need to do is they need to get back to those roots of what they were doing, especially during the 360 era, and really work with these smaller companies that are bringing these really really good experiences. And they kind of got away with from that in this generation. And the the things that Microsoft definitely has going for it is even with Sony announcing their version of the Game Pass thing, Game Pass is still going to be the bread and butter for Microsoft. It's still the better product of that style for now. And with the EA
yeah.
stuff, with the Bethesda stuff, it is now, all bets are off if they're like, hey, if Sony's like, hey, if you have this collection service, you get the new God of War day one. It's over. That's over. I mean,
I don't think that'll
but
happen, but
I
boy,
don't think it'll
that would
happen either.
be.
But if they did, but going back to the infrastructure, their cloud gaming stuff and their streaming gaming stuff from what has been talked about internally and through the media is that it is second to none. Like we joke about Stadia. This what Microsoft is doing is not a joke. You're talking one for one gaming via streaming that works 100%. You talk about how you play now and there's still that little bit of latency. That's not what happens with Microsoft.
Yeah.
And so with all that combined, the infrastructure side is second to none. And yeah, they had to go for those haymakers with price on the consoles and with the type of services that they're giving because they cannot compete right now with what Sony is producing in their internal games. So the weird thing about it is that it's almost like these products are trying for two different things. They're really not direct competitors in a way
Sure.
because they're both offering different things, but they're obviously the competitors. It's obviously a war between them if you still want to do that
Yeah.
bullshit console war stuff.
Well, and the timing right now, I think this is what you're pointing to was one side has the games. Now let's build the infrastructure around that to make it about as pristine as possible.
Sure.
The other side has that infrastructure in place, but now we got to get our creative teams like back in the labs to like say, hey, let's put some like really, really quality games out there.
Yeah.
And I mean, the future is it's bright for both companies, and if they do things right, 2021 could be
Oh, sure.
bananas.
And
And I
especially
know
beyond.
I lean on that
And
word, but it could be banana split,
oh yeah.
fudge popsicle, awesome.
And I will say this, of the two of the sides that they need to improve on, I feel like Microsoft has the easier path just because of history. Because Sony doesn't have a history of
Well,
good
sure,
networking. They don't. They've never had
that's
that.
true.
So
That's very true.
and obviously Sony didn't need it in the PS4 era and especially the PS3 era because it didn't really affect their sales. But in with how highly competitive it is, they've it's got to be better with how high speed internet is now. It just has to be better, and I hope it
Sure.
is.
Well, I mean,
And go ahead.
when you think about like Sony's history, they've pretty much rode the coattails of games that are very story driven,
Hmm.
very single player, or very local multiplayer. The idea of having them having to like develop like a decent network has not been um forthcoming until like recently. When I say recently, I'm thinking like 10 years or whatever.
Sure.
Microsoft hit the ground running with its 360 and poured a lot of its resources into doing that because I guess they saw that like
This is
you
where it's
know
going.
people aren't going to go people aren't going to go gather in people's living rooms anymore. They can do it from their own living rooms.
Right. Yeah, and again, that's not to say that Sony can't do it. I mean, they absolutely can, and I and it's also not to say that that Microsoft can't get with these internal companies that they've been buying like crazy and start churning out really good games. It's it's it.
Yeah.
You would hope that the answer is here in 2021. We're like, man, the Sony network is great. Man, Xbox has some really kick-ass games coming, and then just everybody's fucking happy as shit. And
Yeah.
I put on the run sheet, predictions on first couple years and sales and direction and everything. That's kind of stupid because it's like, I mean,
Yeah. Especially now, like
nobody
you can't predict
knows.
anything.
Nobody knows. The hope is that they both do. You know,
They're going to sell lots of units.
yeah.
There's going to be lots of complaints. There's going to be lots of cheering.
Oh, sure.
That's just what's going to happen.
There's gonna be the stupid
There's going to be
ass.
several delays.
Yeah, there's gonna be the stupid ass Sony fanboys and Microsoft fanboys that I'm gonna argue with on Twitter, and those tweets will go viral instead of my streaming tweets. Fucking goddamn Twitter. But yeah,
By the way, Nintendo's still here.
well, I was about to say we can't forget about Nintendo. So Nintendo is in a weird place because not really a weird place. They know what they're doing. They're not a direct competitor of those two. They're their own thing. And
They are not worried about those two that
no,
fight.
you
They're
know what they
just
want you to do? They want you. Yeah, they want you to do exactly what you did with the PS4 and the Xbox. You buy your Xbox or your PS4, and then you're like, I also want a Switch. That's your other console, and they want you to continue to do that. They're gonna keep churning out their really good first party stuff. They're gonna upgrade the Switch here next year, whatever that means, and it's gonna be your favorite alternative system, and they're okay with that.
It's the family system.
It is.
Like
Yeah.
when you think about it, I mean, I can't count like so. I've watched your stream. I've watched several other streams in regards to the re-release of the Super Mario third 3D games,
Mm,
and a common thing amongst all of them was, oh, I remember playing this the first time when I was a kid. I
exactly.
remember the first game I ever played was this. I remember this, everything had to do with that. And I can like that's Nintendo's main mission
Hmm.
is to get you at that ground level when you are a child and have all those feels when you're playing Super Mario, Legend of Zelda,
Hmm.
Metroid,
Well,
Kirby, stuff like that. now it's Splatoon and
Oh God, Splatoon,
other and
incredible.
Animal Crossing,
Yeah,
and they will let the other two consoles fight it out for us, like the dads, the moms, the big brothers and big sisters. But when it comes to like the kids that are growing up, they're definitely going to gravitate toward the platform Mario.
it's been sold out for the last 6 months because people are buying it.
Fucking
And
ass,
the
dude.
big thing, Charlie, the thing that you brought up, it's exactly this is exactly the point and the reason why Nintendo's fine. The Switch has come out at a time where the people that were playing NES and Super NES, our age, have kids. It's the
Yeah.
perfect console to be like, "Hello, son, daughter. This is what I used to play." They make a new version of it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's play it together. Mario Kart, Mario, all that stuff. And with the stuff that they're putting out, like the 3D All Stars, I played this when I was a kid. I'm sitting
Yep.
there playing Super Mario All Stars,
Let's
and
play this together.
right, my daughter came in while I was playing Super Mario All Stars, the original, the SNES version, and she's like, "What is this?" And I go, "This is what I used to play as a kid," and she's like totally into it. So
Mm-hmm.
they're in that perfect spot of new and nostalgia. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
But so they're on their own, and they've basically been on their own since the original Wii. Doing their own thing where they're like,
Yeah.
we're not competing with these. We're never gonna have the hardware in the it's never gonna look realistic, but we're gonna
They
make
tried.
they
They tried with the Wii U because remember that
right,
huge thing that they had with
sure.
all the third parties coming in saying, "Oh wow, the Wii U's got some really really good hardware. We're really looking forward to making video games for that."
Yeah,
And then
and then
they
no.
ne're came out.
Well, the Wii U, everything about the Wii U was an unmitigated
It's okay.
disaster.
They're
Yeah, I know,
still
right?
awesome.
You and your seven brothers, because that's all the only ones that got bought.
Playing Donkey Kong Country on you in
Yeah,
2 days.
yeah. I'm gonna wax you later. Um, but yeah, no, the Switch is in that perfect age place of the people, the adults playing it all have kids, so they're like, this is what I played when I was a kid. So yeah, they're gonna
Yeah.
be fine. Like these new consoles don't do anything. They don't mean anything to Nintendo. And
No.
they don't have a direct competitor, which is exactly where they want to be, and it's working for them. You can't find a Switch anywhere, whether it's the original Switch or the lights. You can't find them because people still want them in droves, and that's going to continue. So they're going to be fine. I am so ready for this next generation. I never thought I would say that, um, because I thought I was done with buying consoles at launch. I just did. But for whatever reason, I am so geeked. I'm so ready.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be so much fun. It really disappoints me that you couldn't get one. And I guess you still could at launch,
Yeah.
it's
There's still
really,
time.
it disappointed the shit out of me
Come on, Santa.
when Ryan couldn't get his Xbox today. Like I was really
Yeah.
disappointed. As happy as I was that I was able to get one. It just it's but it gaming is in such a good place right now. Like there's so many good things coming, and it's only going to get better, and we don't need to do this console war shit. Gaming is good everywhere. All you PC people, fuck you. PC gaming's great. Xbox is great. PS5 is great. Nintendo is great. Everything's great. Stadia
Video
sucks.
games are great right now.
Yeah, video games are great. It's never been a better time to play video games. So let's keep playing. Let's
Yeah.
let's have a good time. And I'll say it one more time. I got an Xbox, so I'm happy.
Nice.
I hope you get one. I hope you're able to get your. I hope you're able to get your PS5. So I guess if there's anything, unless there's anything else, Charlie, we can go ahead and wrap up our next generation talk. Is there anything else that you wanna put
Oh
in
man,
about
golly.
anything?
Other than the fact that they can like release some more of those things,
Sure,
please.
absolutely. I hope they do. I
That's
want
all I'm
everybody.
asking.
Yeah, let's do it. And the good thing is that here in our next segment, we've got a few questions that are about next generation. So we're not completely done with next gen. But that next segment, everybody, we're gonna get to while it's loading is the mailbag. And if you have a question for the mailbag, you can hit us up on our tweeters, at Charizard81 or at Team Llama Games. You can also hit us up here, right in the chat right now, and maybe we'll get to it tonight. You can hit us on our Discord. You can hit us at the MC Gamescast at gmail.com. Charlie, first up, we got some really good questions this week. First up, from our good friend Chris. Our good friend Venuso. So we kind of talked about this a little bit, but I think we want to go ahead and pinpoint one game. What's the game that you're most excited to get your hands on with the new consoles? Charlie, I think I know what yours is. So I'll let you go ahead and answer that.
It's Miles Morales Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm ready to continue on that story. It looks so good. It looks so pristine. I'm intrigued to see what new innovations they've incorporated with the fighting scheme and what new villains they can get out of his array of villains that have yet to show up on that thing, because it's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I would say in general, just because of my love for, especially the third one, it's Fable, but I don't know what that game is, so it's hard to say that. So probably of everything that I've seen, it's probably... Man, that new Horizon looks really fucking good. That they showed a couple times ago. Just really, really good. Spider-Man looks really good. So I guess if I have to pick one, it's probably... Oh, you know what? It's Ratchet. I think it's Ratchet.
Okay,
that game looks so incredible. That game looks like the kind of game that you'd be like, hey, this is what next gen looks like. Look at all the particle effects, the load time things. This is what you use to show it off.
That game makes me wish I had played Ratchet.
I know, yeah. I only played the PS2 Ratchet and Clank, the first one. It's fantastic. This looks great too. Excuse me. We've got one more from Chris. So if you were forced to play 24 hours straight, and he put it as eyes propped open, kind of like the Clockwork Orange, gun to your head, what's the one game you're going to pick to play 24 hours straight?
Oh.
And I think this is tough because you don't want to just pick your favorite game, because it's got to be something that you can repeatedly play over the course of 24 hours.
And it's got to be something that it's not repetitive, that you're just doing the same thing over and over again. You got kind of like free reigns to do stuff. Mm-hmm. Oh. Off the top of my head, GTA 5.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Because the world is so huge. I was thinking like maybe Fallout 4, because I've never really truly been that. And
why would you play a bad game?
The map is so ginormous. Huh?
Why would you play a bad game?
Okay. I know you didn't like it. It's okay.
No, go ahead. No, I think GTA 5 is perfect.
It would be GTA 5, just because, like, again, even the storyline in that game, it dives you in, and like it immerses you into Los Santos, and just there are 3 different characters that you can play as. You could play that game like for 24 straight hours and still like barely have made, you could put considerable strides in the campaign, but like those games, I tend to like just deviate off the path a lot. I'd go off and just do some hood rat stuff, or like those what were those called, the strangers that you would run into, and there's like those side quests that do crazy stuff with those stunts that you'd see people do with their motorbikes up in the mountains and stuff like that.
You haven't mentioned the other thing that makes it easy for you to pick that online.
Oh yeah.
When you get tired of playing the story mode, you just switch over to online and do whatever the fuck you want in there. That's that's got me thinking maybe picking that. I think for me, I think Nick said it. I think, and this is just because I'm so into it right now, I think it's Rocket League for me. I know you mentioned that playing a repetitive game can maybe get old, but man, I fucking love Rocket League so much. All right, Nick, we're playing Rocket League for 24 hours. Let's do it, starting now.
You should try to do that for your, if we do our
extra life.
Extra Life.
Oh God.
And I want to see how far in you get before you're like, I regret this decision. Not, and honestly, I hope you say that you don't regret it and have a great time the
I don't think I
entire
would. I
24
think I would be able to
hours.
make it.
That's a long time
I
of
would be able to
Rocket
do it.
League.
Also, I'm not doing 24 hours. I'm doing 12. I can't do 24. But yeah, I think it's Rocket League for me. But man, Grand Theft Auto 5, that's a really good. I bet Red Dead would probably be a good one too, especially since it has online now too. I bet you that one would be pretty easy to do it with.
Any Rockstar game.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'm sure Josh. I'm sure Josh could play
man.
Vice City for 24 hours and not, even though it doesn't have any online, he could probably do that and not bat an eye.
Starting right now.
So I forgot to mention this. I should have mentioned this earlier when we were talking about Bethesda. But our good pal Lead Asian Chris, Lead Asian on Twitch. Everybody go follow him. He wanted us to talk about kind of the Microsoft buying ZeniMax, and so what I'll do is I'll pose this to you, Charlie, since you're getting the PS5, and who knows if and when you would also cross over onto the Xbox. So if Microsoft was to come out and say all Bethesda games are exclusives, so meaning Doom, Wolfenstein, like all those games that you like from them specifically, if they were going to be full, would that persuade you in any way to get at least an S? Or because we haven't really talked about it. I don't know if it's because the reason why you didn't get an Xbox One wasn't because you're like, fuck them, Sony, for the win. It was just you just never got one.
No. There were never any titles in the Xbox One duration where I was like, I have to get that console. With, again, with Sony and their exclusives, it took up my time. And obviously, I had a kid during then, I was going to school at the same time. And, it's one of those things where you have to choose one versus the other. And one attracted me more than the other did.
Yeah.
Now, being that way made, to answer your question, if they were to go complete, so it's going to take a lot of convincing. It may take a Louis Vuitton purse on the side to purchase, but I'm probably going to get both of these systems. Obviously, I'm going to go for the PS5 first.
Right.
But if it came, say I wasn't doing that, I would be pissed first, but then I would be like, okay. And then I'd wait it out. That's what I would do. And after I heard that news, to be like, okay, maybe it's a console exclusive, but maybe it's a timed exclusive, because Cuphead eventually came out.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. I'm a PC gamer also.
Well, and that's the hypothetical.
That's one of the reasons why I have been able to play Microsoft games or other games as well on top of the Sony
and all
games,
those Bethesda games will go to PC.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess it's more of a hypothetical type thing. Is what if that happened? And see, the thing that always not annoys me, but what always kind of stunk about you having a PS4 and not an Xbox is that for a long time there was no crossover. We couldn't play games together, but now with crossplay starting to become a thing for most games, we've played Rocket League together. Yeah. We can play Fortnite if we want to together. There are a lot of games now, a Call of Duty. We can play that stuff together now.
Yeah, we play Warzone.
So the idea, the idea that you necessarily pick a console based on where your friends are is still kind of a thing. Like, it's the main reason why I'm going to continue on with Xbox now. First is because everybody else besides you has an Xbox, and that's who I play with. But that's becoming less of a thing because of the crossplay thing. So Bethesda being bought by Xbox doesn't mean you'll never get to play Doom again, because you'll have PC. But also Doom is probably going to come to PS5. Elder Scrolls is probably going to go, especially Elder Scrolls. There's too much money to be made, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. we'll continue the thread of the next gen stuff here. We should have brought this up. I should have brought this up again. Our good pal Sheamus, which cross your fingers, boys. Hopefully he got to affiliate today. Twitch.tv/Sheamus.
I hope so, man.
He asked how difficult it was for us to find a next gen console. We talked about that. You were not able to.
Difficult.
Yeah, very difficult.
Not for this guy, apparently, but
then you know, the thing that he really wanted to talk about was how important it is to us to get that console on the first day. You know, the answer to that is it's not important to me at all. I wanted one, so I got one. I haven't done that since the PS2. I don't care either way because you know, especially now, the crossover is really big. You know, Xbox One and PS4. There's a lot of that crossover. You know, and Sheamus is right that a lot of the games that are coming out for launch day or around launch day, they're going to be on those old consoles. You can play Spider-Man on the old console if you want to. It's, you know, Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed, and all that stuff. So it's all going to be there. So if I didn't get one today, I would have been disappointed. But in the end, I don't care that much about it. So you know it. I mean, I know you're disappointed too, but yeah, it didn't. You didn't come up to me and you were like, "I can't believe I didn't get one."
Yeah, like it's less the fact that, you know, it's all about kind of being part of that movement, and it's less about obtaining that item because, you know, at the end of the day, it's going to get obtained anyway. Like, I'm going to have a PS5 eventually.
Yeah.
We'll see about the Xbox Series X. Fucking Switch. God damn it.
One day.
Deliver more. Yeah. But, and it's kind of weird. Like, I rarely do this because, I mean, if you look at my console collection, when you look at, like, you know, take a step back and look, I don't really have any like the first generation consoles. Like, I think I didn't get the PS3 on like the first generation. My brother gave the second generation to me for my birthday.
Right.
My 360 is a beefed up Gears of War 3 collector's one. I think I had the arcade beforehand, but again, that was it wasn't the Slim, but I had, you know, the Xbox. I'd say about the year after it had come out. The PS4 that I have, it's a Pro, and I got that, you know, well after the PS4 like standard had come out and stuff like that. So regarding into importance, it's really not that important to me.
No.
It is all about, like, you know, rushing like day one. Like, it's kind of like getting, like I was trying to explain to my wife, it's like getting concert tickets. Like, you just want to be part of like that movement. You're like, okay, it's 9:59, time to get my mouse ready or whatever, and just start clicking the crap out of this link to see if I can get in on the fun.
Yeah.
And if I get in, that's great. But if I didn't, you know, it's like you said, Mitch, I'm sad. I'm bummed out, but, you know, it is what it is.
Right. You're eventually going to get there, and again, if you really want to play Spider-Man that bad, you can.
Yeah.
So, you know, Yeah. Some people love
like,
to have
if
it at
I
the
was
beginning.
a Demon Souls guy, then I was just like, oh dang, I'm like, I really, really wanted to play that. Maybe, I don't know. Fortnite is readily available on all the consoles now. So, you know, regarding the PS5 launch titles, you know, it's like you said, it'll be readily available on the current generation.
Guess what?
So I don't sweat too much.
I'm going to get my Series S on the 10th of November, and I'm going to probably play Xbox One games with Ryan. That's probably what's going to actually happen. So I don't need it. It's nice to have it, but, you know, who cares? All right. Let's get back to Nico. So this is interesting. I think it's an easy answer, but this is interesting. It says, knowing the amount of work that it takes to be a full-time streamer, and let's not beat around the bush. It's fucking work. Would you do it? Like, if you could sustain, financially doing it.
Sure.
You still have your kid, you still have your wife, would you want to? The answer is obviously you would want to, but do you think you could sustain?
That's why we're here.
Do you think you could sustain what amounts to 40 plus hours a week of streaming with all the other responsibilities that you have?
My answer, hell yes.
Oh yeah, that's easy, 100%.
I will tell you why. 40 hours a week is nothing.
Right.
To be honest. The accounting world, we work like 50, sometimes 55, 60 hours a week.
Yes, sir.
And we don't have budget seasons. We don't have anything like that. The cool thing about streaming, and I'm slowly discovering this as I go along, is all the fun networking that you get to do. It is a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, but it doesn't feel like work. I'm learning new things every day about OBS, the layouts, how the system works, how to grow, how to grind, talking on camera. I dare say that if I go back and look on our original Gamescast, we have grown exponentially since then,
sure.
to be able to deliver to the camera. And
every episode we got better.
We're continuing to grow, continuing to get better, continuing to morph into something, completely brand new. And I think that, those few who have found their niche, have found their way into this lifestyle where they get to do this. And, fortunately for them, they have, enough revenue under them where they can self-sustain. It's I don't want to say it's winning the lottery, but it is, it's when, what's that saying? Like, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Exactly.
I love doing this.
Yeah, that's what this would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, the amount of promotion that we do, the amount of just hustling that we do just to do the amount that we do now is a lot. We do a lot of stuff. We do a lot of prep for this. Each week one of us
have to stop ourselves when we're texting each other,
right?
Because we
have so many ideas
well into the night after this, because we have so many ideas coming out of the woodwork, but it's like, we gotta sleep eventually.
Oh yeah, I mean, we write stuff for this. We
have to work the next day.
Yeah. We do
this onward.
Yeah, each week one of us writes a big old scatter shooting, and basically what I'm saying is that we're awesome. So, but no, everything is awesome, and every day we're hustling. It's yeah, and some people choose to put more into it than others, but it becomes very obvious the ones that don't put in the work, and I think we do. I think you do, I do, Josh does, because we're always getting better with the craft. We're not just settling for, let's play a game and then we just play the game. No, we're trying to be funny. We're trying to be engaging, and we do that, and we try to get better. We're asking each other about certain things like, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? Not just with the podcast, but just in our streams on their own. So, and what Josh just said is right. You have to have some natural entertainment quality. And you have to not just have the presentation of being fun. You have to be having fun. And we do that because we don't hold ourselves to one game. We don't, and I'm not saying that's wrong. If you're a Call of Duty streamer, you're a Call of Duty streamer. but we play what we want to play. We play the stuff we want to play, and that shows because we're having a good time doing it. I do a fucking American Truck Simulator. You know what? To everybody else, it's fucking boring. I have a good time, and you know what? People have fun that are in there because we get to talk more. So, you can ask Josh being in there. It's not the most fun game to watch, but we have a good time talking, listening to the music and talking shit. Marbles on its own is not that fun, but when we're bullshitting and picking stupid songs and doing that, that's what makes that stuff fun. You're playing Donkey Kong Country, a game that came out 30 years ago or 25 years ago, but we're having a good time bullshitting about Donkey Kong Country. So, we have a good time with it, and I think we would be able to continue even going from whatever it is we do now, 15 hours maybe, 10 to 15, and do it in 40-hour spurts. I think we would absolutely be able to do it. It'd be a lot of work, but I think it would be fun as hell. Let's get to... We'll save Sturm for last. Let's get to Ryan. So if you could go back in time and give young Charlie and young Mitch one piece of advice, what would you tell them? Let's say 18-year-old Charlie. What are you telling him?
To take a little bit from my economics teacher, start a Roth IRA. I would do that first.
That's a good one.
I'm like, $200 a month is not as much as you think.
Yeah.
It depends. Like, so you're telling me, oh boy, see, there was no YouTube back then. And see, that's the thing, is that's what I would tell myself, is that remember all those, like, I wouldn't go back to 18. I would probably go back to when we were all hanging out at the apartment.
Yeah. 25, 26.
Start all this.
Yeah.
Then.
Do podcasts, like Josh said, start doing Twitch stuff. I guess Twitch wasn't back then, but start working on that.
All the stories, all the hood rat stuff that we had come up with, it's gold. And like, yeah, I may be talking, through rose-colored glasses because that's what we experienced. But, kids nowadays, they're able to start their own businesses, like, if they're creative and savvy, and like you said, they work hard. Like, it just doesn't fall in your lap. But that's what I would tell myself, just like, don't worry too much about like the rabble out there, and just
well, and like,
have fun.
I think you hit it right on the head, because no, I think you did, because I think you hit it exactly on the head, and kind of where I would go. Because, like, it's easy for me to be like,
buy Bitcoin.
Yeah, like, it would be easy. It would be easy for me to be like, huh, not marry my ex-wife. Like, it's easy to say that shit.
Well.
But
I could have easily said like, hey, buy Amazon stock. Hey,
well,
buy this.
Sure, but that's too easy. That's dumb. Like, I like the idea of being like encouraging. And basically what you're saying, encouraging us as a group to do these bullshit things we always talked about and then didn't do. Like, Chris, like, basically kind of like, Chris and I, when we were doing that dumb music stuff. Like, that was the one example where we were like, man, wouldn't it be dumb if we wrote songs and then we did it? But that's like the only thing that we ever really did. We've been talking about doing podcasts. 48. Yeah, right. We've been talking about doing podcasts for a decade. Never did it. We've been talking about doing anything that has to do with entertainment stuff for the longest time, and we just never did it because either laziness or what we perceived as not enough time, which is dumb because that was all that was perception. And to comment on something that Nico just said, I would hit Chris in the face with the door 100 times, not just once. Nico. But, I've said this a couple times to you guys. Like, I always was like, man, wouldn't it be, I think it would be fun if I did a stand-up comedy class, and then never did it. I would fucking tell myself, go do that shit. Even if you fucking fail. Yeah. Even if you go up there and your jokes aren't funny, and you're nervous and you can't do it, just fucking do it. And,
because you never know.
Just, because, like, when we were in our 20s, all we would ever be like is like, man, we sure do have a lot to lose if we do this bullshit. When the answer was we had nothing to lose.
Yeah, you had more to gain
What if
than
we did a
lose.
podcast 10 years ago and it sucked? Well, then we still did it.
Sure.
And you know, and it's stupid to think that now because we're doing it now and it's fucking great. It's awesome. I think we do a great job, and most importantly, it's fucking fun as hell. It's still my favorite thing we do during the week is this podcast.
Yeah,
So
I always look forward to Tuesday night, man.
yeah, so it would just be more of that encouragement of like, if you fucking have an idea, just try it, just do it, because
Yeah.
obviously nowadays we're like, oh, we do the idea, and every time we do any of these ideas, they're fucking fun. So you know, it just more encouragement because you know we were dumb back then. That's right, Jack.
Would you eat the entire pizza?
Yeah. I would encourage myself to not eat the pizza before I go there. Oh my god. Never change. Never change, Josh. So last question. Last question from Sturm. You know, Sturm is from the Great White North. He lives in Vancouver, up in Canada, and he asked, "What's it like living underneath the greatest country on earth?"
I have two awesome answers for that. I'll let you go first.
I would say he's right. Canada is great, but I would actually pose a question to him. Sturm, can you explain to me why Donkey Kong 64 is a terrible fucking video game? How about that? How about you explain that first, and then we could talk Canada. What about you, Charlie?
One, I would say it's nice and it's warm. So that's what it's like living underneath your country. And I would like to say that we took your country's only sport and made it better down here. Because who's in the Stanley Cup right now?
Let's go Stars!
And I'll go as far to say they're even south of the Mason-Dixon line, if you even know what that is. So, yeah. What have you guys done with football? Nothing.
I don't know. The Canadian Football League is kind of fun.
How the Edmonton Oilers? What are the Canucks doing right now?
He doesn't give a shit about sports, so he doesn't care.
How did Calgary fare against the Stars again?
But seriously, Sturm, Donkey Kong 64 is fucking terrible. Get over yourself. But anyway, and yeah, I do want to go up there. We can go have a drink with Sturm. He can have a non-alcoholic drink.
We can have a Molson.
we could go up there and hang out with Sturm and Lead Asian because they all live up there together.
Okay. Canadian beer.
That's right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was a great mailbag. Thank you guys so much for the questions. We appreciate it very much. Actually, Nico had one in the chat. Why am I so terrible? The answer, Nick, the answer to that is because I want to be. And you can go fuck yourself. I'm better than you at Rocket League. Go fuck yourself. And that is the mailbag, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys enjoyed that mailbag as much as we loved presenting it to you.
Farted and left the room.
That's right. Farted and left the room. And so that brings us, ladies and gentlemen, to the last segment of the day. And that last segment would be... And now, it's time for Tuesday Night Scattershooting with your host, Mitchell Barron and Charlie Zarzuela, right here on the MC Gamescast. Thank you so much, announcer. I appreciate it very much. Ladies and gentlemen, scattershooting. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who it is. Scattershooting and wondering whatever happened to David Hayter. David Hayter, Solid Snake, in Metal Gear Solid 1 through 4, and then was replaced by Kiefer Sutherland in the Metal Gear Solid 5. Whatever happened to him? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I wish I had the answer for you, but I don't. So, throughout the history of gaming, there has been brand crossover with games like Cool Spot, the mentioned in a different podcast, Yo Noid, etc., but the most famous crossover is probably the Xbox 360 and Burger King crossover of 2006. From late November until Christmas in 2006, Burger King published not one, but 3 games based on Burger King. Starting with Pocket Bike Racer. It was a pocket bike racer, those little itty bitty motorcycles. It was a racing game with up to 4-player split screen, 8-player online multiplayer. For some reason, it had Brooke Burke, of all people, on the cover, the model and host. She was on the cover for some reason, and she was a playable character. Next up was Big Bumpin', which sounds like a name of a rap song, which was based off of bumper cars. It was a kart battle mode game that featured characters familiar to the Burger King franchise, such as the Subservient Chicken, and once again, Brooke Burke, and the Burger King himself. So the obstacles in the arenas included pits and saws, and players gained power-ups that allowed them to deal specific damages. The arenas included the Icebox, Broiler, King's Court, and the King's Court, the Deep, and the Monsoon of Doom. The game supported up to 4 players as well as 8 using Xbox Live. And finally, the best of the bunch in my opinion, Sneak King. This was the Metal Gear Solid Burger King game where the players take control of the king, who is tasked with sneaking around while delivering 4 different types of Burger King meals to hungry people. Sneak King's gameplay consisted of 4 levels: the sawmill, the cul-de-sac, construction zone, and downtown. Each level featured a unique map with 20 challenges. Former GameSpot editor and current Giant Bomb editor Jeff Gerstmann gave it a 5.8 out of 10, and although describing it as weird and poorly made, he concluded that, quote, Sneak King is a one-trick pony that has an interesting curiosity with a subversive sense of humor. So that was the Burger King video games. So as we have detailed on the last 2 scatter shootings, by most metrics, the highest selling game of all time is the blocky creation game Minecraft. Why did it become the greatest selling of all time games of all time, though? Well, there's many reasons for that. Of course, it's the accessibility, the ease of play, the creativity, etc. But one big reason is because the game has been released on everything.
Yeah.
Here is every console that it has been released on.
Media penetration.
Windows, the Apple Computer OS, Linux, Raspberry Pi, whatever the universal Windows platform is, Android, iPhone, Windows Phone, Xbox 360, Xbox One, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, PlayStation Vita, Wii U, Nintendo Switch, Nintendo 3DS, the Kindle Fire OS, and the Apple TV OS.
What?
Exactly. This thing is on everything.
TV.
This week's idiot video game criminal is a man from California that in 2016 embezzled $4.8 million from his employer. He spent that money on the usual stuff someone spends a lot of money on, such as luxury cars, golf memberships, sports tickets, and bad iPhone games? That's right. This man spent nearly $1 million on Game of War, which you might remember Game of War as the game that had the commercial that starred Kate Upton and her assets front and center.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
The California man was a former comptroller and accounting department head, and he wasn't exactly a criminal mastermind. He was using his company credit card designated for operating expenses on himself. He falsified records and took steps to cover his tracks, but it doesn't take long for people to draw a connection between an employee that suddenly is driving sports cars and has massive amounts of money basically the company was missing money that they didn't expect to be missing. So he later pled guilty to money laundering and wire fraud and faced up to 20 years in prison for each charge and was ordered to pay all of the money back. $1 million on a fucking iPhone game.
God.
Just
that's a lot of money on a game.
Unbelievable. And finally, a video game joke quick hit 8-pack.
Yes.
What do you get when you cross Sonic the Hedgehog and Curious George? Too fast, too curious. Is that your Xbox One running? Well, you better go catch it. What does a guy with erectile dysfunction and the PlayStation Network have in common? They both have trouble getting things back up.
Oh.
Why did Sony hire Justin Timberlake to fix the PlayStation Network? Because they were hoping he could bring more than sexy back.
Okay.
What do you call a Minecraft celebration? A block party.
Nice.
What game do you play after eating Taco Bell? Fart night. Did you hear about the Minecraft movie? It's gonna be a blockbuster. And finally, what did Gimli say to Legolas after he lost a leg in battle? Huh, more like leg-o-less. Am I right, guys?
Yes.
Anybody?
Yes.
Frodo? Sam? And you have been listening to Tuesday Night Scattershooting. We'll see you next Tuesday, right here on the MC Gamescast.
Welcome to the dark side.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for this episode of the MC Gamescast. Charlie, what a fantastic show we had.
Great, man.
Shout out to everybody that came and hung out tonight. We had our usuals, Josh Shizzle, we had Nico, we had Mean Green, and special shout out to everyone else that came that hasn't been here before. We appreciate it so much. This will be up on VOD tomorrow on our YouTube channel, MC Gamescast, and then on every single possible podcast network in the world. We will be back next week, of course. I don't know how we're gonna follow up this. What if there's no news, Charlie?
Man, we may have to start about talking about old video games again.
Oh, it's weird. I don't know why we would do that. We're all about new video games on this podcast. But yeah. So coming up tomorrow, Charlie, I believe, is going to be starting his potentially his Wednesday streams. Is that correct?
Yes, potentially.
Yes, and I'll be back tomorrow.
I'm tentatively optimistic about that, but
I'll be back tomorrow. Charlie will definitely be back on Thursday and Sunday nights, and I'll be back, of course, tomorrow and throughout the week. And so, for Charlie Zarzuela, I am Mitchell Barron. Good night, everybody. This is the MC Gamescast. We'll see you guys next week. Goodbye, everybody. I love you guys so goddamn much.